United States. Thank you all so much for taking part in the 2021 African Dialogue Series for the United Nations. I'd like to welcome Elizabeth Curran, Mary Christina Colo, and Mohammed, who will be representing Tidiane Bal. So welcome so much to our guests. I will ask you to state your first and surnames, country of residence, and the name of your big, bold, innovative idea. And also tell us a little bit about yourself. What motivates you to continue and to keep moving forward? So I will start with Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, please introduce yourself, your country of residence, and the name of your innovative idea. Elizabeth, kindly unmute yourself.
Live in Abuja in Nigeria. It's a fun, interactive. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. May you kindly repeat?
No.
May you kindly repeat yourself? Thank you. Okay, while we wait for the connection to get a little bit more clear for Elizabeth, let's move on to Marie. Marie, may you please introduce yourself, the name of your idea, and also just tell us a little bit about yourself. What motivates you?
Hello. Okay.
The connection is not so good. I will come back to you. I will come back to you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Marie, can you hear us?
So hi everyone, my name is Mary Christina Colo. I'm 32 years old. I'm from Madagascar. I'm a social entrepreneur, founder of the Green & Cool, which is a social business I started 5 years ago, and that initiated the project Alt Soap that we're going to talk about today. What motivates me actually, I'm a climate activist and ecofeminist too, so my social business is also a way to bring empowerment to vulnerable women. It's also a way to bring in change and prove that that it is possible to have a sustainable economy and a real balance between natural resources and economy.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Marie. And please remind our audience and listeners where you're located.
I said it. I said that I was from Madagascar, or should I say the city too? I'm from Madagascar, in the north of Madagascar, Nocibe, and my business is mostly based in Antananarivo, the capital city.
Okay, thank you so much, Marie. We'll now have Mohammed. Mohammed, if you could please tell us your first and surname, country of residence, the name of the big, bold, innovative idea, and also what motivates you and your team to continue with this project. Thank you.
Thanks. Hello, this is Mohammed Kuni from Bamako, Mali. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you just fine.
Great, great. So I am Mohammed Kuni from Bamako, Mali. I am 23 years old, and I am actually a web developer, a self-taught web developer. So our innovation or the innovative idea is a hand wash machine, a hand wash station. This idea came across the fact that motivates us to create such a machine is, of course, due to the COVID-19. We had to come along with a solution to reduce the possibility of contamination. Because, just a brief story, we used to have traditional hand wash stations which had bathtub on them. So in order for you to open the water pipe, you had to touch the head of the head of the faucet. Now our innovation, the main idea was to exclude absolutely the fact that you have to touch the head of the faucet in order to have water to clean your hands. So yeah, this is um, in a grosso modo what we're doing.
Okay, thank you so much, Mohammed. Now our next guest is going to be Elizabeth. Elizabeth, could you kindly introduce yourself, your country of residence, and the name of your bold idea, and also tell us a little bit about yourself. What motivates you and keeps you going? Elizabeth?
I hope this works now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
So, and I'm glad you're smiling.
Okay, my name is Elizabeth Baron Eremye. I live in Abuja, Nigeria. I'm 35 years old, and the name of my innovation is teeming. It's a fun interactive app that teaches preschoolers and toddlers first words in English and a few indigenous African languages. And I decided to build this app because I had just had my first baby, and I am in a cross-cultural marriage. So in my household, we only speak English. So there's a tendency that my kids are not going to learn either my language or my husband's. They're only going to grow up speaking English. And this is the situation in a lot of Nigerian households now. That's the current situation. So a lot of our languages there is the tendency that a lot of languages are going to die out. A lot of African languages are already dying out. So this is something that concerns me greatly. And I feel like I should do a little bit towards contributing to keeping those languages relevant. So that's why I built the app. And of course, what motivates me to go on is my kids. Like, I want them to live in a world where Africa is represented, African stories are told by Africans, and not a narrative that is crafted by somebody else who doesn't really understand what's going on the continent. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And please stay with me. Could you tell us when and why did you get started on your idea? And you told us a little bit about the problem that your idea solves as far as cross-cultural households. But tell us, how did you get this idea started, and how has it changed the communities that you currently work with?
We were in an incubator, in a business accelerator, and we got into the incubator because we had built a folk storytelling app also for children. So I'm really, really big on African culture and conserving African culture and all of that. So we had built the folk storytelling app, and we actually built it on a whim, and it got so much traction and so much positive feedback that we decided, okay, this is something relevant. This could be a potential business that we could pursue. But at that time, we were only doing it part-time because we had our main jobs to work on. So when we got into the accelerator, we had to resign our jobs, and then we knew that we were going to have to face this squarely. So because we had built the folk storytelling app on a whim, we did not really figure out how it was going to be monetized. So we had to come up with something else and then figure out how it's going to be monetized. So that was why we decided to build teeming. It was a continuation of the whole conservation of the culture thing. And because we had just had my co-founder is also my husband, coincidentally. So because we had just had our first baby at that time, we're like, okay, this is another problem that we see happening. So how do we solve it? And that was why we built the teeming app. And the feedback from it has also been really, really positive, because initially, when we built it for the cross-cultural Nigerian households. But over time, our analytics showed that most of the people who were using it, most of the downloads were coming from Africans in the diaspora. So we had a lot of downloads from the UK, from Europe, even as far as China and Australia. And it then hit us that is actually a more needy market, because a lot of Nigerians who are living in the diaspora don't even have family members or communities where their children can have access to tribal languages. So this was the market that wasn't the market we were targeting when we built the app, but we found out that was the market that was going to eventually use it. So, yeah.
Okay, I understand. So households in Nigeria as well as in the diaspora.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So let's move to Marie. Marie, could you tell us why, you told us a little bit earlier, could you tell us when you got started with your idea, and tell us the problem or service that your idea solves and how it has changed the communities or affected the communities that you currently work with? Thank you, Marie.
Let me start with a number. 3 out of 4 people in Madagascar do not have access to soap and water, according to UNICEF. 3, it's also Madagascar world rank in terms of difficulty of access to drinking water and sanitation. 3, it's also the world rank of Antananarivo, our capital city, that is considered, according to the magazine Forbes, as the third dirtiest city in the world and the first in Africa. Yeah, oh my God. So clogged pipes, floods, accumulation of waste are a daily life for many Malagasy living in urban areas. But from these challenges, my team and I, we decided to create opportunities. For 5 years, my social business, the Green and Cool, has been involved in waste management and job creation for the most vulnerable. And it is true that the current pandemic has represented a real challenge for us. However, challenges do not scare us, and this allowed us to accelerate the launch of a project that was close to our hearts in December 2019. So our project was Alt Soap, an eco-responsible and solidarity soap. It is made from waste cooked oil that we collect from companies, from restaurants, from individuals, because this oil, they are one of the main sources of water pollution in urban cities. And not only in Madagascar, also in Africa, also in Europe and other countries. For example, in France, they only recycle 5% of this oil, and then this oil is just polluting water. So we treat and transform this waste oil into fully biodegradable soap that are tasted and that are healthy for the skin, of course. And because yes, washing our hands, it's a barrier gesture that seems to be so simple for us today, but that is crucial for millions of Malagasy people, for millions of people around the world. A gesture that can defeat COVID-19, but also diarrhea, the second leading cause of child mortality here in Madagascar. So there's an emergency. There was an emergency, and with our solution, so we create this eco-friendly soap, and for each one bought, one other soap is given to a solidarity structure. So we were able to deliver more than 32,000 soaps in less than a year, in different schools, prisons, for people in difficulty, for NGOs, etc. We were also able to create more than 12 jobs for sustainable people in reintegration, social reintegration in the midst of the pandemic. So for us, that was a success. But we wanted to go further with alt soap, and that's why still in the middle of the pandemic, we were able to develop two other innovations. So the first one is a no rinse soap. It's still a prototype, but it's a soap that do not need water um, what, um, because most of the people do not have access to water. So even if you give them soap, if you ask them to wash their hands to protect themselves, of course, it will be just not efficient. So we started with this no rinse soap. Um, and we are now working with a laboratory to develop it and to release it this year. And the second innovation is that we wanted to mobilize and sensitize in another way, with something original, an original tool. So we had a partnership um, with an association that create video games. So we create video games that sensitize on the different disease that you can get without washing your hands. So I can say that, of course, all of this were not easy. We were limited by lockdown, by limits of transport. When we tried to build the first machine that could treat the wet cook oil, I did it in my house, in my garage. Most of it was DIY. So yeah, we had to be creative. And the second thing is that we had to bring a lot of awareness, because people, they do not trust wet cooking oil. They were afraid that it can be dangerous for their skin. And also, there's a big competition for soap, so we had to communicate a lot, but the demand was increasing and still increase right now. So now I can say that we are quite positive. We keep on growing, and we do have now a partnership with two cities in Madagascar and another one in France, where we're going to develop also the solution. I hope that we'll develop it in many other countries very soon.
Thank you, Marie. And we'll definitely get to the obstacles very soon. Thank you so much for talking about accessibility as well as promoting awareness. So let's move to Mohammed. Mohammed, can you please talk to us about why you and your team, headed by Dr. Tidiane Bal, started this idea, and tell us the problem that your idea or service solves and how it has changed the communities that you work with. Mohammed?
Hello.
Mohammed, are you with us? Yes, I can hear you.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Great. Great. So first of all, I have to present Fab, which is our lab where we work. So basically, Fab Lab is a laboratory of technology. So experience, we first learn new technology, we experience them, we try to provide solutions to the problems that our community are facing using these technologies for the knowledge of technology that we have learned. So our hand washing machine or hand wash station in chemicals as a response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So first of all, I have to talk a little bit about our community, like what we used to have, the solution that we used to have before our hand wash station. There used to be, let's say, a traditional hand wash station, which had a bathtub on it with water, a water container. So in order for you to clean your hands, you would use the soap and open the water pipe by using the faucet head, cleaning your hand. But afterward, after you have cleaned your hand, you have to close the faucet head. But the problem here is that let's suppose you have a virus on your hand and you've used the tap to clean your hand, but later on you have to close it by touching the same tab. So you have cleaned your hand, but you you always have the virus after cleaning your hand. So we try to come up with a solution to eliminate the process of touching something when it comes to cleaning your hand. This is how me and my team at Donifab had a long talk about it, and we tried to find a solution, to let's say to have a contactless device that would allow you to clean your hands safely. So yeah, we at the laboratory we have a lot of things, a lot of electronic devices that could help us do that. So we use the knowledge that we normally learn throughout throughout our activities to come across with this hand wash station, which is basically contactless. So in the community, like people appreciated the idea a lot because when we explained the fact that touching the bathtub before you wash your hands, but touching it after you have washed your hand, you have cleaned your hand, is not efficient in terms of preventing yourself from the virus. And this does not only apply to the COVID-19, but it also applies to other type of viruses that could propagate that way. So yeah, that's basically the little story behind the hand wash station HW.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. Now we're going to move to the obstacles. So I'll go back to Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, what were some of the biggest challenges for you and your team when it came to building your educational app? And how did you overcome some of these obstacles? Elizabeth?
Okay. The biggest obstacle while we're building the app was, I'd say the A/B testing, because we had to. There are some solutions that before you introduce them to the market, back then we didn't have the knowledge that we have now. Like if I was going to build the app now with all the knowledge that I have, I would actually do the market survey first before I build the app. Back then we felt that, okay, this is a problem that we have in our household. And so we felt that by extension, a lot of other households would have the same problem because most of our friends are also in cross-cultural relationships. So when we built the app, when we were going to test the prototype, the test group that we brought together to test it, a lot of them did not see the need for the solution. So it took a lot of convincing to enable them see that, okay, it might not be relevant to them, but it is relevant to we feel it will be relevant to their children. They grew up learning their mother tongue. They grew up speaking their mother tongue, but I feel it is unfair if the children get to lose out on that part of their heritage. We feel it's unfair if their children get to lose out on that part of their heritage. So it took some convincing to get people on board and to get people to start using the app and to give us feedback, the feedback we required to make it better. So yeah, that was the biggest obstacle, of getting the first people to come on board. After that, we also wanted it to be a social endeavor. So when we built it, we actually also had it in mind that we were going to target children in underprivileged communities, because a lot of them don't have access to quality education. So, and they grew up speaking, and okay, this is like the flip side of the coin. So a lot of children in the underprivileged communities also grow up speaking the local language, but they don't get to speak any English. And then when they go to school, sometimes they are immediately expected to start learning things in English language. Nobody helps them make that transition. So we were also hoping to address that particular problem by exposing these children to a few foundational concepts in their tradition, in their local language, as well as English, so that by the time they finally start school, that transition is not as jarring. But then after we built the app, obviously we found out that not in the underprivileged communities, of course, the smartphone penetration is almost everywhere right now, but not everybody has access to data, and not everybody has access to a smartphone that is big enough to have that storage to download an app of that size. And then not every parent, of course, is going to sit down at home and help their child to go through the app's contents. So these were these are the two major obstacles that we encountered while we're building the app. And of course, we've come up with solutions to them after we came up with solutions to them afterwards. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But yeah, those were the biggest obstacles we had.
Okay, thank you so much, Elizabeth. We'll now move to Marie. Marie, if you could tell us some of the obstacles or biggest challenges that you faced when coming up with an alternative soap.
Earlier, I was sharing about the different challenges already that we faced: lockdown, limits of transport, the awareness that we also needed to we needed to do. But I can also add something. We are still using waste cooked oil to make our eco-friendly soap. But for the most vulnerable people, this oil is not a waste. They keep on using it again and again. Some individuals do it, the poorest, and also in some small restaurants. And using this oil again and again can be dangerous for health. So when we sensitize about it, they couldn't understand. They were thinking, oh, we don't want to give you this oil. We still need it. And it's not dangerous for health at all. You are talking only bullshit. So we had to think about the new way of getting this oil from these individuals, because of course they can use it again and again, but at the end they just throw the waste they just throw the rest into the waste or into some pipes. Sorry. Excuse me.
Are you feeling better? Okay.
Yeah,
good.
But I'll get a glass later. So yes, this was a big challenge for us. So how we managed to overcome it? We decide that if you give us some of your oil, waste oil, we can give you in exchange some soaps, so they can use the soaps instead. And they felt like, oh, this is a good deal. We have free soaps like this with this waste, so okay. And that's how we manage. But with the most vulnerable population in the beginning, it was a bit difficult. What can I also say? When I was talking about awareness, I was also surprised because actually those who have education were those who were the most afraid about using this soap. And they were asking a lot of questions about its impact, was it very good for health, etc. So we didn't expect it, so much questions, so much fears, but yes, we were able to handle it by working with a laboratory. And yeah, that's it. We were able to overcome this obstacle, fortunately, and we're quite proud of it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Marie. Now we'll move on to Mohammed. Mohammed, I would like to know, what were some of your challenges or obstacles with developing, that your team or you faced when developing Donifab, and how did you overcome these obstacles?
All right, thank you. So first of all, Donifab is a fab lab, as I already stated. So as a fab lab, we have um, let's say parts or products which are intended for prototyping, not industrial intensive use. So the first samples of products that we have produced were made by these prototyping tools that we have at the lab. So we had a lot of bugs, with the first products. We had to always go to our customers, fix the bugs. But we actually knew why these bugs were coming from, and we have explained to our customers that we are working on we are working on the betterment of the product. But as the day of today, we have been able to design our own motherboard for the hand wash station. So this makes it much more stable and much more efficient at use. Now, before we actually get these custom made motherboards, we had already sold like 20 units of our machines. Now, what we've done after receiving these cards, we have upgraded or updated, let's say, the 20 machines that we had already sold for free. We updated them for free. So yeah, our customers are happy, and as far as the performance, it's neat now. It's functioning like yeah, at the best. I would say at the best. So that was one of the major problem: access to efficient material. Now there were also the issue of lockdown, so we couldn't have the equipment at time. We had to command it to order it. I mean, from China, a manufacturing PCB manufacturing factory there, but it took time over months. So yeah, this was a lot of pain because our customers were always complaining about the quality of the product while we were still waiting for our motherboards to come across. But as of the day of today, like I said, we are okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. And I'll go back to Elizabeth now. Elizabeth, for our audience and our listeners, how can they support your innovative idea to help this idea, your education app, expand beyond your community and your country, Nigeria? Do you have plans to expand outside of your country, or go to across the African continent or the international community? I know earlier you spoke about the Nigerians in the diaspora using the app. If you could elaborate on this more. Thank you.
Yeah, earlier I had said that the bulk of our downloads come from Nigerians in the diaspora, and we also, it's one app that has different segments. So there's a segment in English, there's a segment in the three major Nigerian languages, Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba, and then we also did a segment in Swahili. So we are going to, we plan to be Pan-African. We plan to incorporate as many African languages as possible, but that is not going to be possible in just a mobile application. So what we're working on right now is we're building a web platform that is going to bring all of our, it's going to collate all of our resources, all of our past mobile applications that we've built. Is going to collate all of them, and then it's going to be on one readily available platform online. So anybody can access it from anywhere. You don't have to download a big mobile application and have it on your phone. So that's what we're working on right now, and that is going to be more, it gives us more of a framework to have more content that is going to be Pan-African, that is going to be more relevant to people who live in Nigeria and the big African continent, and of course, outside the continent as well. So the way what viewers can help is, of course, word of mouth, basically. Like, oh, I heard about this app. It talks. She mentioned an app that teaches toddlers and preschoolers words in Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, and Swahili. You might want to check it out. And they're also building a web platform. Maybe follow our social media handles. It's zenafree.com. Check out our website. The web platform we're building is called Koyamu, Koyamu. You can check that out as well. We are still updating the content. It's still it's still in beta testing, basically. So we just started uploading the content that we've been working on all last year. So it's going to get bigger. We're going to have more content, and then we'll get off the ground. So basically that's it.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And just to let you know, I'm based in Maryland in the US, and there are lots of students and people just interested in African languages who would definitely be happy to know that you can go to an app and learn Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, and even Swahili. So that's really good to know. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Marie, if you could tell us, how can audiences and people listening to you, how can they support your innovative idea to help this idea expand beyond your community or Madagascar, or expand to other African countries, or even the international community? Do you have plans to expand outside of your community, your country? Please, if you could tell us more. Thank you.
Sure. Actually, a few weeks ago, AltSoap, our project, was the winner of a competition. It's the competition Made Innovant Africa, organized by the city of Marseille in France. And thanks to this competition, we are now glad to develop our solution in France too. So this is our main goal this year. France, it's an important step. I said earlier that even in France, only 5% of the waste cooked oil are recycled. And that is one of the main water polluter in Europe too. So we want to prove that our solution is not only a solution for a country like Madagascar, for Africa, it can also be a solution for a developed country. And so it's a new step for us. We are growing more thanks to this competition. France is also an important target for us because there is the largest Madagascar people, Malagasy people. They are the largest African community in French. It's the largest diaspora in France. So we know that we can have we will try to have their support for this project. And from France, I think it will be easier for us to reach other countries like other countries in Europe, and why not US? But we don't want to export our product. Instead we want to start small production workshop in various countries with people who want to work with us, who want to also develop this kind of solution. We are more than happy to share, more than happy to collaborate and help other. Mohamed, if you want, I can bring you some soap. We can have business together, huh? Let's have a deal. But yeah, we will be more than happy to have this kind of partnership with other organizations, but organizations that are sharing our values, our solidarity system too, that are ready to have this solidarity system. And of course, we think that the prototype of our no-rinse soap that we are still developing, and that we want it to be something big, because we know that in many other countries, people are lacking access to water, so this can be a solution too for them. So this one we of course expect to develop it in as a Pan-African solution, and then target other countries too. But yeah, I think we're on the way, and quite positive about it. But if people want to join us in this adventure, in this journey, because this is actually a journey for us. It's not an easy journey. It's a real challenge. I said it before. We are in a state of emergency. So people, they can contact us. They can help us also with our, they can use the mobile app, the video game that we are working on, because it, of course, it sensitizes about hand wash and the different diseases, but not only. Thanks to this mobile app, it's also possible to give donations of soap to organizations. So thanks to the points that you earn in the game, you can transform them into real soap. You can be a real superhero. So I hope that this game can also be a success in other countries. You can join us by volunteering, also to enrich our current game. So just feel free to contact us. It will be a real pleasure.
Thank you so much, Marie, and thank you for teaching me something new. I had no idea that the largest diaspora of people from Madagascar lived in France. So thank you so much for teaching me that today. We will move on to Mohammed. So Mohammed, what can audiences and listeners, how can they support your innovative idea, Donifab, to help this idea expand beyond your country, beyond your community? Do you have any plans to expand across the African continent or to the international community?
Thank you so much, Arao. And I would say to Mary that, yeah, it would be a pleasure to work together. I will be looking forward to that. So, yeah, I mean, basically, everybody can use the HW because it is about cleaning your hands. So we can use it everywhere. Now, um, yes, first of all, we have developed the product based on the realities of our community, of local community. So we didn't expect to expand to throughout Africa or internationally, but of course because it is about um, health, because health prevent it helps to prevent you from viruses. Yeah, any help or any person or listeners who would like to help us spread our solution throughout Africa or internationally, yes, we have no problem with that, and it would help us better to in the betterment of our product to make it much more affordable. Because yeah, one of the problems also is due to the fact that we have to import or materials or equipment to build a product. It makes it cost a lot of money for the average Malian population. And this is something that we're not proud of. We want to do anything possible to reduce the price so that every home could have a HW to work with. And yeah, I think that that's it. If people could help us reduce the price by supplying us with equipment or maybe financially, yes, this would help us reduce the price and spread it across Africa, and why not internationally too.
Okay, thank you so much, Mohammed. We have about 12 minutes left. I want to make sure that we target this question before we leave. So I'll go back to Elizabeth now. I am sitting with very smart, very intelligent, very innovative innovators. And my question to all of you, and I'll start with Elizabeth, is what's required to create a conducive environment to create beyond COVID-19 rather than wait for a crisis like COVID-19 to strike. What's needed for African innovators to solve Africa's problems? And also, what's needed to cultivate a culture of innovation and expand these innovations to other African countries instead of importing innovations? And lastly, what needs to be done to facilitate intracontinental trade within Africa? And so I will start with Elizabeth, who developed an amazing educational app. So, Elizabeth, if you could answer some of these questions or one of these questions, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
I feel it would help if Africans set aside national differences and come together, because I feel like most African countries, if not all of them, really have the same set of problems. Like, I feel like what unites us is the things that unite us are more than our differences. So if we could all set aside our differences, especially young Africans, African youths, people in their 30s, 20s, could set aside their differences and come together and figure out ways to solve African problems, I feel like we'll go a really, really long way. And then I feel that also solving the transportation problems in Africa will also go a long way towards helping this cross-border, what's the word I'm looking for? Partnerships, yes, that's the word I'm looking for. This cross-border partnerships, I feel like solving transportation in Africa is going to go a long way towards helping that, because if I want to travel from Nigeria now, my flight to the UK will be cheaper than my flight to South Africa. So it's really, really, it's sad. So, and also it's one giant continent. Just get rid of the individual passports. Let's all have just one passport to facilitate ease of movement. Like, I feel like if more Africans are able to travel across borders and visit other countries, we'll see why we need to put aside our differences. Because you visit your neighboring country and you'll be like, oh, I also have this problem back home in Nigeria. You guys have this problem here as well. So if we all are able to have that ease of movement, I feel it will go a long way towards helping to foster unity and then helping with those cross-border partnerships. And these things like this also help as well. Even if we can't make those journeys in person, we can always have meetings like this where like minds always meet every once in a while to share problems and rub minds and figure out ways to solve individual problems that maybe could also have Pan-African ramifications, so to speak. So that's my 2 cents. I know it's probably not going to happen, but I can always hope.
Thank you so much for your response, and I'm a very positive person, so I think it will happen. But you brought up a very good point, Elizabeth, about cross-cultural or partnerships between different countries. So I will now move to Marie, and Marie, you were very bold in talking to Mohammed about working together, and I absolutely love that. So, Marie, what is required to create a conducive environment so that more innovators such as yourself can work with others in other African countries?
First of all, I'd like to say that I just completely agree with Elizabeth, in particular, particularly about transports. I'm from an island, and it's even worse for islanders to even communicate with the continent. I had many opportunities to share with fellows from the continent, and they do not know the context in African islands too. So we need to have better communication. I think that one of the good solution that can be that is reachable, I think, and that we already have. Sorry, there's a baby near me. Just 1 minute. Hey, sorry. Sorry. So one of the solution is, for example, I'm really sorry. Just 1 minute. I have someone to take the baby. 1 minute.
Okay. So, Mohammed, if I can go to you while we wait for Marie. Mohammed, what is required, in your opinion, to create a conducive environment for innovators just like yourself to create beyond COVID-19 or any other crisis? Would you kindly respond to that? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Arao. And I like this question especially because we are a Fab Lab. So as a Fab Lab, the main spirit or the main goal of a Fab Lab is to spread the knowledge of technology, or at least to facilitate access to technology to the population, especially the young population. And we do that for over 4 years now. That and we host students from different universities of Bamako who would come for their projects, projects for their end of studies. We help them understand the core functioning of electronics of programming and help them structure or build their own app, their own little robots, their own solution, or whatever they have to do for the end of the cycle, the end of studies. So that way, it comes in, it is part of this help of the population to understand the underneath of technology, how it works. And by doing that, we also, spread, let's say, the unity. It is a call for unity, that we are all the same, because we don't only host Malian students, but there are other students from other countries, but who are actually studying in Mali, who come visit us for their projects, and we help everybody. So yeah, in terms of unity, let's say, as one of Elizabeth pointed out, I think this is a big deal because we are also part of an organization of Fab Labs throughout West Africa. So we have different countries, roughly 5 to 6 countries, who where Fab Labs are united. Each year we
That's
have
great.
we have events each year where we visit one of these Fab Labs in these countries, and they share their innovative ideas, the projects that they have conducted. So yeah, this is basically what I can say about that.
Thank you so much, Mohammed, for highlighting how students come together. The students that are in Mali are coming together to learn about DoniFab, as well as the organization that brings together groups such as yourself. And that's very interesting. Now we'll go back to Marie. Marie, you were responding to your question. In your opinion, what is required to create a conducive environment for innovators to create beyond COVID-19? Marie, please go ahead.
I'm not a student anymore, but I also share Mohammed's point of view. I'm not a student, but I'm teaching at university. I'm a professor. I like to bring with my teaching this spirit of innovation, this sense of creativity, because I think that this is not only happening in Madagascar, that we have this in Africa, that we have this culture where youth are not able to really express. Elders, they often ask us to wait for more experiences. Being an entrepreneur is like something not very exciting. It's risky. So parents, they do not encourage often their kids to be entrepreneurs. So I think that first of all, we have to prove and to show more success stories, success models. First of all, in our country, and then those were able to succeed at a Pan-African level. I know that there are many young Africans who were able to work in different countries, and what we also need is networking, partnership between these different entrepreneurs. That's why I was proposing directly to Mohamed, you should take every opportunity. That's how I work. And I think that because sometimes we feel like we don't know each other much between countries. We don't know, this one, it's a country with a French speaker, it's an island. Will my solution work there? I'm not very sure. I know no one there. So we need to have more dialogue, more dynamic platform. I'm proud to be a part of a regional platform, but mostly for social and green entrepreneurs, and in the Western Indian Ocean. So I'm the co-founder of a platform, at least for Western Islands, and just like Mohamed, we have this skill sharing. For example, some people from La Réunion Island, they teach us how to do something. And me, for example, if I know something, I can also share it to the other people in Comoros. And I think something that is sometimes a challenge also for us is when you are an entrepreneur, you think that sharing your solution is not a good idea. People can steal it, etc. But I don't think that we should still have this way of thinking. We need to think about what kind of opportunities we can build together, not seeing everyone as a competitor, as an opponent, but work together to bring some positive change. And that's how I think we can valorize innovation in Africa by, just working together. And that's what I do with my different network. And I also invite other youth to not work, individually, in a small, just in their level, not communicated with other organizations. We need to change that.
Thank you so much, Marie. And just to repeat what you said, just to paraphrase, as an entrepreneur, not to look at everyone as an opponent or competition, but as a potential collaborator. Thank you so much for those wise words. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Mohamed. Thank you so much for taking part in the 2021 Africa Dialogue Series with the United Nations. And I hope that all of you stay in touch with each other, regardless of what product you have or have founded. Thank you so much for your time.